Everyone should have a healthy distrust of the media. One of the most dangerous, unspoken things in existence in the world today is a media controlled by a very small group of corporate entities. Every day, we are constantly lied to and constantly told what to think, and most of us never even realize it. It's become a duty and call to action to wake people up to this reality. Before blindly listening to what's hurled at you, everyone has a personal responsibility to at least know what's going on before handing your mind over to the many forms of media indoctrination. In short, wake up. It becomes a frustrating experience to wake people up from the matrix, so to speak, and constantly overhear people all around still completely misdirected and mired in false narratives. The day after the attack in Paris, for example, almost everyone immediately began talking about how crazy people in the world are today, changing their profiles to French flags and immediately posting support and condolences. And the irony was that no one had a clue about what really happened or why the entire world was made to watch. In addition to that, most people are lazy, distracted by a capitalistic existence, don't know they are brainwashed, and most times don't know what they are doing or why. Your thoughts are not your own, and you're being led by the hand every step of the way. Most people openly and defiantly do not trust their governments. People know better. However, simultaneously, they overtly trust each and everything their government does, says, and presents anyway. Because most people trust corporate news narratives where they get most of their information and never question any of it. Most people are still completely unaware that governments orchestrate and/or stage events all the time. This was always done throughout history and is still maintained today. This is nothing new under the sun. You can't even explain this to sheeple because you might become the one under attack or ridiculed for trying to tell people the real truth. Unfortunately, we have a world of people who don't understand how the world works. The media is not for information, it's for indoctrination. It's owned and operated by a very small group, and the objective of news media is compromised. It's not about informing you about what's going on in the world. The main function is to carry out agendas and control what you think, how you behave, and what you believe.
Well, I've been a journalist for about 25 years, and I was educated to lie, to betray, and not to tell the truth to the public. And it is not right what my colleagues do and have done in the past, because they are bribed to betray the people, not only in Germany, all over Europe.
Despite the fact that lots of our news is corporate-controlled fiction, we have been brainwashed to accept the news as the infallible truth. We are a society of drones who do not know how to think critically. And because of our media brainwashing, things often go very wrong, impacting the lives of citizens irreparably. All day, every day, just a few corporations cooperate each other's talking points, edit all the news, and dispatch everything you're meant to hear on all networks. There are several video compilations showing you just that.
Who are you really shopping for this holiday season? It's okay, you can admit it if you've bought an item or 2 or 10, for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it if you bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it, Todd. If you bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it. If you bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it. If you brought an item or 2 or maybe 10 for yourself. It's okay, you can admit it. If you bought an item or 2.
It's okay, you can admit it. If you bought an item or 2.
2 or maybe 3 or 4, maybe even 10 items for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it, can admit it, can admit it, can admit it, can admit it.
Now that was something light. They control your thoughts about blatant police misconduct routinely caught on video, but it gets psychologically downplayed, and they successfully make half of our society believe there's another side of the story. They also run completely fake news stories to support the fake war on terror on a regular basis. If you don't think that's true, hang on just a second. The government sends agents out to trick poor, desperate, sometimes even mentally challenged people easily lured in by the promise of money. Then they lock them up and throw them on the news as militant Islamic terrorists on the loose, who have been apprehended by great work, as they promote the law enforcement and intelligence agencies as heroes. Some of you already know this, a lot of you don't. If you still doubt that, take a look at the Newburgh 4 debacle.
The reason that I feel as safe as you could possibly be. This is a city where people want to live together, and once again, when we are threatened, the NYPD, and working with the other foreign and domestic intelligence agencies, has shown that they are doing exactly what we would expect. As you know, the commissioner has devoted roughly 1,000 police officers to intelligence and counterterrorism. Commissioner Falkenrath is here with us today. These people do, behind the scenes, day in and day out, collect and analyze and prepare and train. And when something occurs, once again, they were there when we needed them.
They stated that they wanted to commit jihad. And again, more information about the motive, I'm sure, will be developed as the case progresses. But right now, that was stated they wanted to commit jihad. They were disturbed about what was happening in Afghanistan and Pakistan, that Muslims were being killed. They all made the statement that they didn't, if Jews were killed in this attack, it wouldn't, that would be all right.
What all those familiar faces were talking about was all a setup.
Well, 3 men convicted of trying to blow up synagogues in New York have each been sentenced to 25 years in prison. But the case has raised huge controversy after they were actually incited by the FBI and handed fake bombs. Well, critics claim it was a setup, but the judge said her hands were tied. Marina Portnoy has more.
In countless so-called FBI sting operations,
FBI operatives provided the fake C4 and actually showed them a fake Stinger missile.
The inspiration to attack America has come from a government-paid informant working to orchestrate the plan. A tactic, critics say, exercised in a New York case dubbed Newburgh 4. The suspects, poor, illiterate African-American Muslims, were presented as the faces of homegrown terrorism and subsequently found guilty of conspiring and attempting terrorist attacks against the U.S. Direction came from Shahid Hussain, a Pakistani immigrant on the FBI payroll, reportedly paid $100,000 for his services. According to court testimony, Hussain recruited the cash-strapped former convicts by offering cars and cash to carry out the operation. Not one defendant had a passport or license. The Newburgh 4 were sentenced to 25 years in prison. A tearful and angered crowd of supporters gathered outside Manhattan's federal courthouse.
Who holds the government accountable? Turn it on your own American citizens, people that's born right here on American soil. This is a damn shame. Miscarriage of justice, and we will keep fighting back.
The government should not be allowed to entrap folks, to make plans and set the whole course of a complete plan, and then take the victims and sentence them to 25 years in prison.
FBI informants have reportedly been used in dozens of so-called foil plots since 9/11. Critics say hundreds of Americans are languishing behind bars for fake terror attacks planted and grown by the U.S. government.
And if you think that's an isolated case, think again. There's also the Miami 7 and several other incidents just like it. How does this even happen? Well, because most of us do not think critically. And people keep watching and trusting what they see and hear in the media. I can do this for a long time, showing examples and clips throughout history that show you how societal stupidity has been socially engineered and people trusting the system fall right into the usual traps of media indoctrination. They have a frequently used strategy of making you trust in the source and then repeating the message.
Or 10 for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it, Todd. If you bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it. If you bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay, you can admit it. If you brought an item or 2 or maybe 10 for yourself, it's okay, you can admit it. If you brought an item or 2.
With all that considered, I've also recently defended some high-profile people, and some people didn't understand why. Celebrities and public figures influence the masses, sometimes make lots of money, and attempt to do very ambitious things that affect the status quo. Character assassinations and even literal assassinations happen all the time, and for reasons you will never hear about. Sometimes the character assassinations have truth to it. Oftentimes, it doesn't, or includes exaggerations or fabrications with an endgame in mind. Regardless, what you should not do is sit there before TV sets like mindless lemmings, listening to everything you hear about any one of us. Could what you be hearing be true? Sure it could, but we as citizens should reserve judgment and demand that justice and due process be done through the courts for all of us, no matter what. No one should be tried through the media because your thoughts and emotions are being created and toyed with without your awareness. You would be playing their game and you're shredding the contents of your own constitution, laws, and rights.
Documents made public today, Bill Cosby admitted under oath in 2005 to obtaining Quaaludes with the intent of giving them to young women with whom he wanted to have sex.
In court documents made public today, Cosby admits to buying Quaaludes with the intent of giving them to women he wanted to sleep with.
Admission in print. In a 2005 deposition, Bill Cosby says he got Quaaludes with the intention of giving them to women he wanted to have sex with.
More details are emerging from a 2005 deposition in which Bill Cosby admits under oath that he obtained sedatives to give women he wanted to have sex with.
Your reaction to hearing what Bill Cosby admitted to under sworn testimony?
Complete validation across the board from all of us.
Now over some health news. You know the old expression, don't worry, be happy?
Don't worry, be happy.
Don't worry, be happy.
Don't worry, be happy.
Don't worry, be happy.
Don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy.
Don't worry, be happy.
Don't worry, be happy.
Don't worry, be happy.
Don't worry, be happy.
Don't worry.
Do you know what I'm talking about? The Matrix. Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind.
In order to have true societal progression, a lot of these old systems and ways of thinking need to be broken. Many of us have the option of either just pointlessly existing as we are, or becoming a part of an awakening where we're actually living toward progression and purpose. And a part of regaining control of your mind entails a lot of work. It's a good thing for many of us to keep growing and learning, improving our health, our personal growth, and focusing on the things that truly matter. not what we're compromised, distracted, or influenced into. So the next time you find yourself rambling on about who you're voting for and why, which celebrity is good, which athlete is bad, or what you really feel about any given topic, ask yourself if you're even sure of anything you think you know, or what you're even talking about at all. Take control of yourself, redirect your thinking, and wake up.